What if the firearm you trust the most is already fading into obscurity and no one gave you a heads up? A few once reliable gun companies are going down fast, losing dealer networks, shutting their doors, and leaving their loyal buyers stuck with regrets and firearms that may not be worth much longer. In this video, we're taking a hard look at 13 firearm brands that are teetering on the edge, and what that silent downfall could cost you as an owner. It's not just about who's falling, it's about how quickly they're disappearing. Pay attention, especially toward the end. One brand still has a reputation for being solid, but that confidence might not last much longer. Let's jump in. Number 13. Remington. Back in 2018, this historic American manufacturer was still moving hundreds of thousands of rifles and shotguns. Fast forward to 2024, and the picture had changed drastically after not one, but 2 rounds of bankruptcy nearly wiped them out. Today, the company lives on as Brio Arms, scrambling to rebuild what used to be the oldest firearm maker in the country. Classics like the Model 870 pump shotgun and the Model 700 bolt action rifle, once known for being rock solid, started showing major flaws. Surface rust popped up on fresh, out-of-the-box guns within weeks. The finish was rough, and mechanical failures like busted extractors started becoming way too common. That first bankruptcy came in 2018. Quality control dropped off a cliff. Then came a second collapse in 2020, breaking the company into pieces. Gun owners who once swore by Remington began to wonder if their trusted firearms would become useless paperweights. Brio Arms rose from the rubble, promising improvement and launching a new facility down in Georgia. They claimed quality had returned, but buyers still reported corrosion on brand new rifles. Since they no longer publish sales numbers, it's tough to gauge whether they're truly recovering. For folks holding on to Freedom Group-era Remington firearms, the future looks hazy. Parts are tough to find, and resale values keep sinking. A company that once helped arm this nation now struggles just to stay afloat. Number 12. Colt. Colt Manufacturing was once a household name synonymous with American firepower. They gave us legends like the 1911 pistol and the Python revolver. This company helped define American gun culture. But by 2015, Colt hit rock bottom and filed for Chapter 11. This wasn't some freak event. Their finances had been bleeding for years. Over-reliant on government contracts and failing to offer innovative products for civilian shooters, they drifted further from what once made them great. Build quality dropped. Users complained of reliability issues and sloppy machining. The brand that once won the West was now lost in the woods. Then came a rescue mission. In 2021, Czech Arms Group, CZG, bought Colt outright. The move brought a cash infusion and modern production methods. CZ's commercial and military contracts helped steady the ship. Today, Colt is debt-free and has access to real research and development muscle. Their factory floors are active again, turning out new pistols, revolvers, and rifles. But some battle scars still linger. In 2019, Colt even paused civilian AR-15 rifle sales due to market saturation. Let's be honest, the only reason this iconic brand isn't buried alongside others is because of that Czech buyout. The real question now is, can foreign ownership breathe life into an American legend? Number 11. Watchtower Firearms. When Watchtower Firearms hit the scene in 2022, they came in with a bang, promising cutting-edge firearms and fresh ideas. The Apache pistol, Bridger line of rifles, and Raider platforms got people excited. Early supporters really believed they were investing in the next big player in American gunmaking. But by February of 2025, Watchtower filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. That's not a decline, that's a nosedive. Inflation, rising interest rates, and shrinking consumer spending created a storm they couldn't weather. They found themselves drowning in operational problems, back taxes, and vendor debt. Orders sat unfulfilled while their entire infrastructure fell apart. Even the acquisition of F1 Firearms in 2023 couldn't stop the spiral. Watchtower says they're still shipping limited orders during reorganization, but honestly, long-term support seems unlikely. Warranty coverage, parts availability, and service, all seriously in question. When a startup falls apart that quickly, it's a red flag. For anyone who believed in their mission, it turned into a hard and expensive lesson in the risks of investing in brand new gun brands. Number 10. SECCC Firearms. If you've ever shopped for a budget handgun, there's a good chance you've come across SECCC models like the CPX-1 and the DVG-1 Red Dot offer decent function at low prices. By 2022, SECCC had become one of the top 10 handgun producers in the United States, shipping more than 113,000 pistols. But it all came crashing down in March of 2025. This wasn't a slow exit, it was a vanishing act. Over $249,000 in unpaid taxes triggered a forced shutdown. By June, the brand's remaining assets were seized and sold off at auction. Overnight, factory support disappeared. Owners were left with no warranty, no repair network, and no path to getting replacement parts. The second-hand value of SECCC pistols tanked immediately, and word spread fast among the firearms community. Previous lawsuits from several New York municipalities back in 2022 had already weakened the company's foundation, but nothing prepared gun owners for this level of collapse. If you still own a SECCC handgun today, the reality is grim. You're on your own. What once looked like a budget-friendly choice turned into a costly dead end. Number 9. Jennings Arms. If you ever picked up one of these handguns, chances are you were chasing the lowest possible price tag. Jennings Arms carried on the not-so-great legacy of Raven Arms, continuing the infamous Saturday night special tradition. Their most common offerings, the HP-22 and HP-25, were built from low-cost Zamak alloy and known for questionable dependability. Fast forward to early 2025, and the final nail was hammered in. Jennings Arms shut down all gun production and stopped selling anything. No more complete pistols, no frames, no technical support. While a few spare parts may still be floating around through secondary distributors, the manufacturer itself is done. That closure officially ended a long and controversial chapter in American firearms history, a legacy built on cutting corners in both quality and safety. The company had always operated on razor-thin margins, but when the bottom fell out, owners were left with unreliable sidearms and no way to service them. It's not just the end of a brand, it's the beginning of a spare parts crisis for anyone who still owns one. Number 8. Taurus. Taurus has long appealed to budget-conscious gun owners who wanted decent features without the premium price tag. Models like the G3, GX4, and the Judge gave shooters affordable access to compact pistols and versatile revolvers. But look past the surface, and the numbers tell a troubling story. Between 2020 and 2023, total firearm production plummeted by more than half, a staggering 54% drop. That's not just a slip, it's a full-scale freefall. Recalls and manufacturing issues battered the company's image. The GX4, for example, was pulled from shelves due to drop safety malfunctions that could lead to accidental discharges. Their .38 Special and .357 Magnum wheel guns saw similar problems. These were not minor hiccups, these were safety failures with major consequences. Multi-million-dollar lawsuits drained company funds and left the brand reeling. Even though Taurus is still producing guns, complaints about quality continue to pour in. For many buyers, it feels like a gamble every time they open the box. Yes, Taurus is still around, but just barely, and with each misstep, more shooters are walking away for good. Number 7. Para USA. Shooters who valued innovation and high-capacity firepower often look toward Para USA. Their unique spin on the 1911 platform included double-stack magazines, giving their handguns serious appeal in competitive shooting and tactical circles. For a while, they held a solid reputation, but that independence didn't last long. In 2012, Para USA was bought out by the struggling Remington outdoor company. Instead of getting a boost, the brand was slowly absorbed and eventually erased. By 2015, Para USA was no longer a standalone name, it was just another division inside the Remington machine. This wasn't a case of low sales leading to closure. It was corporate cannibalism. Some legacy parts may still be out there through third-party vendors, but there's no factory support left. No production, no tech help, no dedicated repair system. Owners of those specialized Para firearms are now stuck navigating parts shortages and repair limitations entirely on their own. The brand didn't die from lack of interest, it simply got swallowed whole. Number 6. Jennings Firearms. For decades, Jennings churned out millions of tiny handguns aimed squarely at folks looking for the cheapest option on the market. One of their most notorious offerings, the J22, embodied everything wrong with the so-called Saturday night special guns: shoddy construction, poor ergonomics, and minimal safety features. These pistols flooded pawn shops and glove boxes across America, but the business model was built on sand. Massive product liability lawsuits eventually caught up with Jennings and the rest of the infamous ring of fire manufacturers. With ultra-thin profit margins and rising legal fees, the company couldn't keep up. By the mid-1980s, Jennings had shut down, passing some designs off to equally shaky successors. Today, owning one of these guns means you've got a piece of history, but not one you can count on. There's no factory support, no reliable way to get repairs done, and no second-hand market with any real value. These pistols went from being dirt-cheap tools to being expensive liabilities no one wants to deal with. Number 5. Brio Arms. Buyers who picked up Brio Firearms were often unaware of just how risky that purchase could be. Models like the Brio 38 and the T380 looked like good deals on the surface but hid serious safety concerns under the hood. Another member of the Ring of Fire group, Brio made their name by pushing out ultra-cheap pistols with inconsistent reliability. It all came crashing down in 2003, when the company was slammed with a $24 million judgment over a catastrophic safety failure that led to an accidental shooting. The defective design was known and ignored. Brio filed for bankruptcy shortly after, with operations shutting down by 2004. Many of their handguns were later banned from sale in states like California due to not meeting basic safety criteria. Replacement parts became nearly impossible to source. These guns didn't just lose value, they became dangerous to own. Today, what seemed like a smart budget option could now be sitting in a drawer as a legal and safety nightmare. Number 4. Davis Industries. Shoppers looking for rock bottom pricing often ended up with Davis pocket pistols or Derringers, then regretted it. Models like the P32 and P380 came in multiple calibers, but all shared one unfortunate trait: failure-prone components that couldn't handle regular use. Over time, warranty claims and prod lawsuits piled up. It wasn't just bad press, it was legal destruction. Company founder John Davis filed for bankruptcy in 1992 after one lawsuit too many, and the company was fully dissolved by 1999. Since then, Davis Firearms have become black sheep in the gun world. No factory service, no real resale market, and no trust among shooters. These guns may have promised affordability, but what they delivered was nothing but frustration and out-of-pocket repairs if you can even find parts anymore. For owners today, it's a constant reminder that cheap can turn costly real fast. Number 3. Lorson Engineering. Back in the early 1990s, many unsuspecting buyers walked into gun shops and picked up pistols from what was, at the time, America's most prolific handgun manufacturer. In the year 1993 alone, Lorson Engineering cranked out more than 341,000 firearms, leading the industry in sheer production volume. Their ultra-affordable pistols, the L22, L25, and L380, sold like hotcakes thanks to their rock-bottom price tags. But building a business on volume instead of quality proved disastrous. Reports of constant malfunctions and critical failures soon piled up. Lorson quickly earned a reputation for being one of the most returned firearm brands in the nation. Those quality control failures triggered a wave of lawsuits, and by 1996, the company filed for bankruptcy. 2 years later, another 22 lawsuits were still pending when Lorson shut its doors for good. Today, those pistols are known more for their safety hazards than for their firepower. Drop safety issues are well documented, and owners are left holding firearms with no manufacturer support, zero parts availability, and absolutely no resale value. A company that once topped the charts in output is now remembered as a warning about chasing quantity instead of building something dependable. Number 2. Jimenez Arms. For anyone who bought into Jimenez Arms, disappointment came fast. This was yet another company born from the remnants of the Ring of Fire, a circle of manufacturers infamous for turning out cheaply made, dangerously unreliable pistols. Models like the JA-22 and the JA-9 were produced using the same Zamak alloy that plagued earlier low-end brands, and the end results were predictably poor. Gun writers and industry insiders routinely called Jimenez one of the worst firearm companies operating in the United States. Then, in February of 2020, Jimenez Arms collapsed under the weight of Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Multiple lawsuits from cities and gun control groups accused the company of violating federal firearms laws and contributing to illegal gun trafficking. In an attempt to sidestep the legal fallout, founder Paul Jimenez tried to relaunch under a new name, JA Industries, but the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives revoked that license in April of 2022. Bringing the entire operation to a permanent halt. No warranty, no parts, no technical help, just silence. The nonprofit Everytown for Gun Safety even bought up leftover inventory just to have it destroyed. For owners, this brand is more than just dead, it's radioactive. What's left behind is a pile of unsupported, legally questionable pistols with no future on the market. Number 1. Raven Arms. Anyone still holding a Raven Arms pistol owns a piece of one of the most controversial firearm legacies in American history. The P25 and MP25 weren't just budget handguns, they were the origin of the entire Saturday Night Special category. Raven was the first company in the notorious Ring of Fire, and their pistols, mostly chambered in .25 caliber, were pumped into the market in massive quantities during the 1970s and 80s. But Raven's obsession with affordability came at the cost of function and safety. Made from the same brittle Zamak alloy as its successors, Raven pistols developed reputations for mechanical failures and dangerous misfires. Then came the fire. In November of 1991, a blaze tore through Raven's factory, shutting down operations permanently. Founder George Jennings retired soon after, transferring the designs over to Phoenix Arms. Since then, these early pocket pistols have become relics of poor engineering and risk-filled ownership. They are widely considered unsafe to carry or fire due to their tendency to accidentally discharge. No replacement parts exist. No service network remains. In the end, Raven Arms didn't just start a race to the bottom, they set the tone for a generation of failure-prone firearms that left countless buyers with nothing but regrets. These 13 cautionary tales are more than just stories of collapsed companies. They serve as hard lessons about what really matters when buying a firearm: build quality, long-term reliability, and future support. A bargain price today might turn into a major problem tomorrow. While some brands might pull off a comeback, most will remain buried in the ever-growing graveyard of failed American gun makers, leaving their owners behind with unsupported weapons and empty warranties. Research before you buy, because the brand name stamped on your slide might disappear faster than you think.